Hey everybody, it's Dave here. Welcome to Holiday for Two. Hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to do a ride along through historic Kingman, Arizona, part of Route 66, and you're going to be going on I-40, get off on Andy Devine exit. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell and the like button, and you'll be notified that way of more videos in the future. So what is Route 66? Well, it's like the song. You know, Route 66, Kingman, Arizona, Barstow, San Bernardino. That's right. This was once the gateway for people coming from out east to California, all the way from Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, and even farther east, New York. They wanted to come out to California. They would travel on Route 66. Now, Kingman, Arizona is a historic city, by the way. It lies in Mojave County. Has a rich history that can be dated all the way back to the mid-19th century. It served as a vital transportation hub for this entire region. Railroad is king in Kingman, you betcha. And in just a moment, we're going to be driving down along Beale Street and part of old Route 66 and take a look at some of its past. Did you know Kingman was established in 1882? Yeah, that's right. It was part of the construction of the Atlantic and Pacific Railroad, later would be known as the Santa Fe Railway. The town was named after Louis Kingman, who was chief engineer for the railroad company. And this development, of course, brought all the people from back east coming out to California, transforming Kingman into a bustling community. The railroad first, then Route 66, and then after that, the rest, as they say, is history. As we begin driving pretty soon along Beale Street in a few minutes, Beale Street is named after Edward Fitzgerald Beale, who was a military officer and explorer. You'll see a lot of different styles of architecture, like some of these hotels are actually some of the original hotels that were built back in the 40s and 50s. Although there's a mix now of new hotels that have been upgraded and added. So you'll see a little bit of both. As you drive around the road here, you'll see even a few that are in need of some repair. That's of course. Speaking of Route 66, as we drive through, it wouldn't be complete as we talk a little bit about how Kingman was an artery for cross-country travel. During the mid-20th century, Route 66 became synonymous with the American road trip experience. It was immortalized in song and, of course, movies and other culture events through time. As we pass by iconic roadside diners, motels, and neon signs, you can catch a glimpse of some of the bygone era. In the 1950s, Kingman became popular as a filming location for Western movies. Today, Kingman embraces its historical significance. The city showcases its heritage through lots of attractions, like the Route 66 Museum and Historic Powerhouse, which houses a visitor center and exhibits all about Kingman's railroad history. Now, in just a few minutes as we get up close, you're going to see part of the old train that's downtown. One of my favorite icons of Kingman is the old Santa Fe train. We'll see in just a minute. You'll see it off to the right. But there's some really nice parks in Kingman. And Kingman is a modern town. It has a lot of the facilities of any modern town. It's growing fast. Next, of course, to places like Tucson and Phoenix. Kingman is rapidly growing. Probably due to the fact that it is kind of a centrally located between Los Angeles and then Flagstaff, Albuquerque, and so on. Even though Route 66 is no longer there in its entirety, I-40 is a very, very busy highway. That's one of those classic hotels right off to the right there. There's a classic steakhouse on the left there. Route 66 Steakhouse. We were traveling through Kingman on our way to Las Vegas for our 28th anniversary. And I decided, hey, let's take a little trip through nostalgia. Let's take a trip through Kingman and kind of see some of the sights along Beale Street here. There's another one of those hotels off to the right. Lots of this was like Motel Row right here. Some of the old hotels have been knocked down and demolished, but there are still some of the classics. And as we get closer to downtown, you'll see even more of the classic hotels. It was beautiful weather this day. I think the high on the day we came through Kingman was like 75. And for June, that was unusually cool. That's almost unheard of this time of year in June to find temperatures like that. Even Las Vegas was cool. When we got up to Las Vegas around the 5th of June, they were still having temperatures in the mid 80s. And that's almost unheard of for Las Vegas. So it's just a beautiful time of the year to get out and take a ride. And we were doing this for our, of course, our anniversary. There's that Route 66 sign. Now, if you keep taking Kingman Highway, there are different ways that you can turn off on your way to Las Vegas. One turnoff will actually take you west to Bullhead City and Laughlin, which is a very popular place. People like to go there too for to gamble, of course. But there's a lot of hotels in Laughlin now. It's been very built up over the years. Or you can turn off and go to the right and go on up to Las Vegas. Kingman's kind of the last major stop between Kingman and Henderson. There really is not a lot between those two cities. Trust me, it's kind of wide open desert. So if you're traveling through Kingman right in through here, make sure you gas up in Kingman. There are a couple stations on the east side of town, a couple stations on the west side of town. If you wait and kind of do your due diligence, you'll find some pretty reasonable gas. Now, we're coming up to some of the old downtown Beale Street right through here. There is the iconic Hotel Beale, straight ahead. Now, in just a moment, as you go a little bit farther here off to the right, you're going to reach a park. Now, when I was a little kid, my parents always liked to stop here. And I remember we stopping here on one time that we took a trip through here. And I had my picture taken, and I was probably about 6 or 7 years old on the train. You'll see in just a minute. The old Santa Fe. It's kind of cool that Kingman tries to preserve its past. There it is, Santa Fe 3759. 484 heavy mountain type steam locomotive. It was built in 1928, but get this, between 28 and 53 it traveled over 2.5 million miles. Wow. And I guess back in 1955 the train ran for one final run that it did between Barstow, California and Kingman, and it was like the hail to the end of steam run that it did. So they actually brought it out, used it on one final run, then landed it in Kingman, and it's become a national. It's on the book of the registry of national. How do you say this? National Historic Places. The old train there. There's the famous Arizona Inn right there. So hey, if you liked this video, this little trip through Kingman, please hit the like button, subscribe and ring that little bell. Safe and happy travels wherever you're going this time of year. Be safe. It's a great time of year to get out and see new places. Take care. Bye-bye.